The International Blind Cafe 18 Plus presents Conversations from Booth 6.
This episode is brought to you by Dots 1345.
Order up.
Is this the one for booth 6?
Yep.
We'd like to welcome you all back to Booth 6 here on the International Blind Cafe. This week, the booth's discussion turns to blind men living upon their own means. They've worked hard to lead an independent life and are fully in the driver's seat. Jason, could you kickstart us off by sharing how you've found it challenging to get comfortable in your own space?
Well, I tried living with someone around when I first went blind, and that lasted about a month. But living on my own helped me really embrace my blindness and helped me adapt to living blind. So I encourage the people around me and the people I come across, especially some of the younger people, to learn how to do things, to be able to live independently, especially through cooking tips and stuff, and letting anybody know that they can live blind. We've run across people in the group that have lived a very sheltered life, and they have a hard time. I think Dion the other day mentioned that he came across some young folks that didn't even really know how to butter toast. So the organization he works with takes them to a hotel for a week and kind of gives them some life skills. So Jody, you went blind kind of like I did in the same time span, and you live independently and stuff. How did you find the transition to living by yourself?
There was quite a bit of transition. I mean, when you're used to doing some stuff with full vision, and then suddenly you just can't see everything clearly anymore. I had to learn a bunch of new skills for cooking, or chopping food. I had to slightly alter my way of doing things. It's just you can still do everything, just slightly differently, but there is a way. There is a light at the end of the tunnel for everything, really. It's just a matter of learning the skills to do it.
I certainly learned that. I ate a lot of burnt food for my first little while, as I was suggesting, because you cook by sight, right? How about you, Eddie? You live in a metropolitan area, so you get around by yourself, you travel by yourself, but you differ from Jody and I. You're actually a guide dog user.
Yes. Guide dog user makes travel a lot faster when you're doing a lot of walking. You don't have to worry about running into things because they usually get you around them. But sometimes they screw up every once in a while, but makes it faster with a dog. And, but then again, it can be sometimes more of a hindrance having a dog with transportation, with getting Uber rides and stuff like that, because some Ubers won't take them. Just have to adapt to different things and get through some of the aggravating times. And we all have aggravating times, but with or without a disability.
That's definitely things we've heard is that the dog is a wonderful tool they are, and the companionship and stuff. In 2024, we're still having the conversation where dogs aren't being allowed in some of the transportation systems, and they're not being allowed in some of the restaurants. That's truly a conversation that should be long over by now. So, Terrence, how about you? I know you live alone, you work full time, and you absolutely have embraced blindness as you've been blind all your life.
Yeah, man, I didn't have a choice. So what helped me out, just to piggyback a little bit on what you said earlier about those who are sheltered, I wasn't sheltered. They didn't really know what to do with me, but coddling wasn't it, right? So even as a child, like a baby, I just got into stuff. I was just no other way around it, man. I was a terror to my family. I found things and secrets that you didn't want revealed to the family, and I drugged them out because I was bored. But they never put restrictions up. They just tried to have things better, which they royally failed at. My grandmother bought me a bike. And they're like, why are you buying him a bike? Because he should ride a bike like everybody else. Well, he can't ride a bike like everybody else, but we can get him close to it. So we're going to stand outside and watch him. So, and the rules apply. You can't ride in the street. And, everybody was under them, was understood that the blind boy on the bike, the blind boy on the block had a bike. So, my grandmother took me and walked me around the house. This is where these things are. This is the sidewalk. And these are my roses. Do not go in my roses. I can tell you firsthand experience. The worst thing about riding a bike in the roses is getting out of those roses, right? It hurts a lot. But you learn where the damn roses are. You just learn where the roses are. But she raised me because my grandmother got me. She was 50, right? And so she raised me with the intent, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not starting off in my 30s or my 20s with a new kid. I'm starting off with, half of 100 completed. So you have to learn how to do stuff so that people won't take advantage of you. So when I turned 18, I lost the old girl. And as painful as that was, it was like, and Shemaine can attest to this because he and I've been best forever, forever. But it was kind of like she died when I was ready, right? There's no other way to put it. I could cook, I could clean, I could travel. Sometimes you walk out the house with 2 different shoes. I mean, they match the foot they're supposed to be on, but it's Nike versus Adidas. And it happens, man. You just gotta smile, but you get through it. You get through it. So, yeah. And she taught me how to do all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Life happens to us even though we're blind, so we can't stop. This afternoon, for the greater part of today, I actually spent putting together the bee colonies and stuff. I'm an amateur beekeeper, and today was the day we picked up our bees, and after recording, it'll be dusk and time to go put the bees in the colony, and I'm walking around the backyard and carrying wood and carrying frames, and it doesn't stop me. So it's a matter of being able to do things. I've always said can't is synonymous with won't, so you've got to reach outside your box and grasp at things in order to achieve. It's good for the soul, it's good for your brain. So Eddie, do you do anything outside the norm as a hobby or that would surprise people that blind people actually do?
I like to ride motorcycles and jump motorcycles. I used to be a motocross rider back in my younger days when I could see, then I lost my vision. And 2019, I tried breaking the Guinness Book of World Record blindfolded motorcycle jump. And that got canceled for legal reasons. And then COVID came and screwed that up for going back to it. But I like messing around with riding motorcycles, and with the people are out there listening here, I ride the motorcycle with radio communication, with someone guiding me with that, listening in my ear with a radio. But do that. I like working on motorcycles still, and like I still like playing with chainsaws and sawzalls and hammers and whatever. Just you got to fix it because I don't have a lot of money, so you have to learn to fix things on your own. And sometimes you have to call somebody up, ask somebody how to do it. Now, I'm old, I'm 54, but I wish we had YouTube University back when I was a kid. Would have made things a lot easier for fixing things and all that, the technology and the internet now. But man, I was raised with the chisel and stone,
Every problem you have, it's somebody has already had it on YouTube, and there's a video to explain it to you,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So, Jody, how about you? What do you do outside the box just to kind of challenge yourself?
Well, I've been trying to learn new languages. I mean, just for the heck of it, I mean, trying to learn Spanish, and maybe down the line, next thing I might try and hit is maybe Arabic, for no reason other than why not? Because even though in normal days, even if you know a few phrases in their language, people really appreciate it and they really, open up to you.
Oh, definitely. I found that because I used to be a long haul truck driver and winding up in your neck of the woods in Montreal there. And if I tried to speak French, I got much better service than if I ever went in there and just spoke English like a typical Western Canadian. So,
Because when you just try to speak their language, they really appreciate it. And if more often than not, they will maybe switch over to English for you.
absolutely.
They really appreciate it.
And Terrence, I know for a fact, as we've had many conversations in the cafe itself, you are an absolute great cook on the barbecue and just a connoisseur of meats. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Like getting your grilling down pat without being able to see it. That's a talent.
So I started barbecuing because, I wanted to, but myself and two of my siblings had moved into childhood house, right? And so at the time, I had a brother that was in high school, sister who was going through nursing school. Everybody was busy running around, and I was paying for everything. And it started off just being rebellious, right? But that's what just big brothers do. You make sure that they covered. I started barbecuing because I went on this pay the light and gas company as little as possible. We had to have air conditioning because summertime and because reasons. So I started cooking all our meals on the grill. Sauteed vegetables, barbecue chicken, steak, ribs. And getting started with it, I'll tell you, it hurts. It hurt. But I was determined to, one, not burn the food, and two, not give everybody, salmonella. So you go down this YouTube University. You start going down the road of rubs, how to set a grill up. Quite sure everybody got that guy in their family that pour about half the bag of charcoal in the grill and set off this conflagration of glory. And then they cook everything. They just kill everything all over again. Like, that's done. Man, you just murdered dinner. But I hit a lick, man. I just took my time. In the beginning, I didn't use heat gloves. I know there's a lot of stuff, and I mess with you guys. Now, Jason, I call you guys blind babies because you guys are new to it. I'm like, we didn't have this stuff. I didn't have talking thermometers and stuff. Like, this is a wonderful time to be blind if there is one. No, I did stuff the hard way. Moving the coals around, holding your hand over the grill to see where this is, and you're getting your temps together by feel and touch. And man, I made some good things happen. I make some real good things happen.
Terrence, I'm a cheapskate. I don't buy into any of those gadgets. I cut with real knives, and I stick my finger in it. If it's hot, it's hot.
Yep.
I put my hand over the frying pan. Tonight, I'm at my son's place, and we sent them out on an errand to get some beverage. So they said, okay, as long as I cook dinner while they're gone. So sure, why not? So it was just farmer sausage and pierogies, but get the oven going, get the frying pan going. But yeah, no special gadgets or nothing. And they came back. Dinner was ready, and I had cold beverages.
Everybody wins, and they wonder how you do it. I remember I dated a girl, and I decided we were chopping it up, and she said, "Hey," I said, "What do you want for dinner?" She said, "I haven't had pork chops in a while." I said, "Fried, grilled, or baked?" She said, "Fried." Wonderful. Roasted potatoes and some nice, garlic butter broccoli. She said, "Yeah." I said, "Smooth." Tell you what, set the oven on 500. We're gonna roast these potatoes. And she was good with the cutting of the broccoli. She was good with the cutting of the potatoes. But when it was time to fry those pork chops, she left the kitchen. Because from what I understand, most sighted people use a fork if they don't have tongs to turn the pork chops over. I don't use a fork. I didn't own a pair of tongs. I put one hand on top of the pork chop, put the spatula up under it, and guided it over. and I lightly touched the grease with my fingertips, and I'm holding this hot ass pork chop with one hand and the spatula, and I guided it down in the grease so we don't make a splatter. And she was like, "I just can't watch you do that. I can't."
Okay, so we covered some of our superhero achievements. But what about the day to day? Because we all have to do our day to day. We have to do our laundry. We have to sweep and wash our floors. And yeah, the other day someone called me and caught me scrubbing the damn toilet. How do we know when our apartments or our living spaces are clean? I know I actually physically put my hand on the floor, and if it feels clean, I've done my job.
I always try to mentally keep like a little keep track of where I'm sweeping. You got little grids on the floor that you're sweeping within, and hopefully keep track of where you're at and just keep moving on like another grid, and I know I leave stuff behind when I'm sweeping, but you try your best.
How about you, Eddie? I know we've caught you with your maid outfit on once or twice.
Yeah, I think I do the job, like cleaning the bathroom. Scrub the floor, do it by feel, and, the toilet and everything else in there. And I think I do a pretty good job. And every once in a while, when I get a sighted person over here, I'll say, "Hey, take a look in here." And they're like, "Jesus, your bathroom's cleaner than my bathroom is." So I guess I do a pretty good job of doing it. But I'm sure there's times I miss a spot. But like everybody, you just keep practicing, and the more you do it, it just becomes second nature, like anything else. But I don't dust. I don't dust, everybody, because I keep telling you guys that dust is just a protective coating that keeps the furniture in good shape.
It is. It is.
How about you, Terrence? How do you clean up after cooking all those ribs?
So, man, there's a lot of repeat spots, right? You go over it again and you go over it again. And you go to play the same spot sometimes 3 or 4 times to make sure that it's done. I remember when I had my apartment, cleaning my bathroom and stuff because I was gone a lot. I would vacuum once a week, but the kitchen and the bathroom was, one of the spots that I stayed on, right? So I kept a rag for the multi-surface cleaner. And then that's another thing, putting things in order. If you get someone that can read it to you, then, because it wasn't anything like Be My Eyes, IRA, CNAI, or any of that stuff, I would make sure that I put stuff in order, and it was hell to tell the captain if you moved my stuff out of order. And I kept stuff in order so that I could wipe down the sink. I knew this was going to be Windex. I knew this was going to be my multi-surface cleaner, my Tilex, my toilet bowl cleaner, stuff like that, right? And since it was, it's just me, those things weren't moved. And so you just wind up going over the same spot. I think my carpets were well vacuumed.
Yeah.
Nothing like using pancake syrup as dish soap, right?
Yeah, man.
That's always nice.
Yeah, what was that? What was the story I told you guys? The paint thinner as lighter fluid.
Oh, that'll light up good.
Oh boy, those eyebrows will grow back. Don't worry.
Yeah, eventually. Listen, my eyebrows match my head, bald, all going. I ain't got nothing.
Did you scream Opa?
Well, here's the thing, though. Like that goes to show, like, even when I was snighted and living as a bachelor, like most bachelors' apartments are cleaner than the chicks' places when you go over to visit them. So I think even as blind guys, we do better. We do a pretty good job, I think. And I don't know. But what about outside yard work? Like, somebody made a reference about chainsawing earlier, and I know that was directed at me. I still take a chainsaw outside and deal with the limbs and tree cutting and stuff like that. I don't drive anymore, but so that means I got to drag everything by hand or wheelbarrow or whatever. But good exercise, I guess. But I still use the weed whacker. I don't use a lawnmower.
No, a lawnmower is too dangerous. I'll end up cutting the electrical cord. But weed whacking I can still do. Raking I can do. No problem. As long as I keep track of where I am.
Well, raking's like sweeping, right? It's all about quadrants and.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I have a push mower, I can do around the trees and along the fence and where the person on the riding mower can't get to, so I can still get out there and get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was me. We had a huge backyard, but I mowed the lawn for the most part until my uncle fixed my lawnmower and it never started again. But I would go through a tank of gas because I would mow the lawn like you're vacuuming, right? I would get in one side and walk straight up that side and then inch it over and then back up and then inch it over and walk forward. And then once I covered the lawn the width way, doing it that way, now we have to go the lengthwise. And so there was one tank of gas on one half of the front yard. So let's go fill it up and do the other part. But you got to do it because the city doesn't care about you being blind. They still give you a blight ticket because your lawn was not kept. At least here they do, right? So they had to get it done.
Part of it is just you got to do it because you got to accomplish something. You got to do it.
Man.
Eddie, you did some like landscaping in your yard recently, didn't you?
Yeah, 18 bags of topsoil dirt and 12 rolls of sod and kind of smoothed out and filled in the holes in the yard from the dog, from Dexter the guide dog. And it's always nice being blind, walking through a yard, thinking, oh, it's going to be a nice walk in the yard, and you hit one of his holes, and all of a sudden you end up doing a somersault. Anyhow, fill the hole up with dirt and smooth it all out with your hands and lay down the side and try to smooth it in and make it tight and water the heck out of it, and hopefully it's going to work out okay, which it did. I did it right. It's growing.
Ain't nothing more frustrating though, and I love nature to a certain degree. But when we first moved in and I did all that work and I put the seed down, and apparently I didn't put enough soil down on top of the seed, so it's one of those trial and errors. And you go, man, the birds are out today. God, they sound happy.
They're feasting on your yard.
Ah, man, they ate all my hard work, bro. It was gone. Like, y'all, that was Pennington. Y'all owe me $40 for a bag of grass seed.
I did that once before also. You learn.
And then how do you guys get around? Like, I know in the small town I live in, I use the Shoe Leather Express. I don't like to call people to give me a ride. I'm still too prideful to use the old lady transit because it's run by the senior center, so that's why I call it old lady transit, because we don't have early transit in the small town I live in, and it's small enough that I walk wherever I need to be, rain, snow, or shine.
Yeah, I'm very friendly with places that I can walk to. The GPS apps really pretty much tell you where you are, and you get to know the people like in the stores close to you, or the places close.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, that's for sure. And not being a dog user, my cane and we get along real good. My cane doesn't dig holes in the backyard like.
and little presents around too. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So how about you, Eddie? You live in a much bigger city than I live in.
Some places I walk, depending on where I have to go to. But for work, I have to take an Uber or paratransit and a dial ride paratransit type bus service. So it's nice to have, but it makes transportation very tedious. It takes forever. It would take you to drive there 20 minutes in a car. It'll take you anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half in paratransit
Oh
buses.
yeah, that was the
It's good, but
drawback there.
you got to plan ahead.
Yeah, you gotta book for when you want to be there, and then what time you want to come back home, and exact times.
And sometimes they'll pick you up and take you right to where your drop off is, and sometimes you have to pick up 3 other people and drop 3 other people off. You can be there in 10 minutes or an hour and a half. But you got to do what you got to do. I guess that's our way of sitting in traffic. like drive people that drive. Us waiting for the buses,
Terrence, we've been on calls with you several times while you're in your ride shares or whatever. So how about you getting around independently as a man with vision loss?
So, I used to handle a dog, and I'll be honest. Before Uber, it was a little bit more fun. So you still with a guide dog, I still had that fight with a cab, but now the challenge that I have, and I'm not against anybody working, but the challenge that I think I have more so now with Uber, there has been an increase of people who don't speak English and don't understand that you're blind. Even when you are as large as I am and you're standing outside their driver's side window with a cane going, Lyft, Uber, are you my, and they don't understand that. And so I've been taken to the wrong buildings, to the wrong door.
Me too.
You sit there and you try to explain to the person where they need to take you. I had a guy tell me, I warned him not to turn on a particular street, and he cut me off and said, "Sir, I go by the GPS." And then he made a left turn on the street where he shouldn't have made the left turn, because we were coming around the service drive of a freeway. You come off the freeway, and there are 2 spaces to turn for switchback. There is a spot to actually switch back. And then if you miss that spot, there is the light there. Here's the problem. If you go to the corner where the light is and you make that turn, the minute you cross over for the switchback, there's a sign that says no left turns. And so I told the guy, I said, you have to turn here. He said, I follow the GPS. And the GPS told him to go to the light. And I said, well, sir, I'm going to work. I need you to get me there on time. Oh, well, we wound up going a mile till he found a way to make a left after making several rights. So, yeah. This being blind, you still get overlooked when you're paying the bill. You're paying the bill, and they still don't want to listen to you.
Oh, a lot of times I'm blind. I don't have any cognitive issues. I'm not deaf. I can still function. I can deduce and myself. I can personally overcome my blindness. I don't need you to complicate my blindness by confusing me with someone who only has one leg, or who's in a wheelchair, or who can't figure things out for myself. So definitely, it's very important that we advocate for ourselves out there and let people know that as blind men, we do very well for ourselves. And hey, it's that day and age where we've got to. Otherwise, we'd starve to death. We wouldn't get anywhere, or we'd go broke paying for private rides.
For normal everyday stuff like cooking and doing laundry, I very much rely on bump dots, and they really mark where where the setting needs to be on the appliances. That really helps very much. On my toaster oven, I can mark the certain temperatures and timing. And on the washing machine, it really helps, those little sticky bump dots that you put on there to mark.
Sure. Turning dials into tactile functions. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Listen, it's hard to find. I told you guys about my venture on buying a washing machine just recently. and I found the perfect one. It was the perfect price. It actually had dials on it. It was out of stock everywhere. And I offered to buy the floor model, but their policy, because they were changing over inventory, their policy, they wouldn't sell me the floor model. But it was the perfect washing machine. It had buttons. It looked like the bridge of the original Enterprise. Okay, all the switches. I was in heaven.
If you'd like to join us, there's always a seat for you in Booth 6 at the International Blind Cafe, Discord server, and Facebook group.